Almost 9,000 miles from home is a land few Iowans will ever visit, but tens of thousands of Iowans are impacting every year. It's a land of incredible beauty and incredible need. It's a land where, over the last decade, one Iowan's vision has been gaining momentum. See it unfold through our lens here in South Africa.
KCCI News Channel 8 presents From Iowa to Africa, the special, brought to you by Craig Tool Company.
Picture the African continent and you'll no doubt envision elephants and lions and the other big game safari animals. They are here, not far from us, and you will see them shortly. But you might also envision starving children living in remote villages. That's the area that a growing number of Iowans, Iowa companies, and Iowa charities believe they can help. Over the next half hour, we're going to take you on a 9,000-mile journey that includes the longest nonstop flight of any U.S. airline, more than 17 hours across the Atlantic and past 8 time zones to the southernmost country on the African continent. Land at the Johannesburg airport and drive 3 hours northeast, and you'll find the Limpopo province, a part of the country that's both gorgeous and heartbreaking.
If the tribal crowds didn't do it, it was the faces that elicit fear. A realization.
Wow, this is Africa. We're not in the United States anymore.
A land where elephants roam free.
Always be very careful. Look, listen, smell.
Making Iowans freeze while their cannons fire.
There's something really kind of exciting and special about Africa.
Specifically, South Africa.
It is a beautiful country.
Beauty in its creatures and beauty in its simplicity. Like the donkey carts shuttling kids to the party.
A year ago, this was just open field.
A party being thrown by an Iowa doctor.
A white guy from America.
Who's marking a milestone. Another feeding center built by Iowans for African kids. Like 12-year-old Jacqueline.
I'm living with my mother, my brother, my sister, and my young sister.
Who'd all go hungry without Iowa.
He changed my life very much, and he gave me food and everything I need.
Our vision is by a year, at most 2 years, we'll be feeding 10,000 children every day using the rice packets that many Iowans have worked at Hy-Vee Hall and schools and churches all over the state packaging.
That's 10,000 children fed across this country every day. In this one spot, on this one Saturday, the cooks in the kitchen were planning on 1,000. Which is why they put a farmer from Boone to work, slicing open the very packages he sealed.
When we package this stuff in Des Moines or Iowa, wherever we are, it's kind of a hypothetical thing. I mean, we have this picture that somebody's given us about where it goes. But to actually come and to see the people and to understand that there's kids here today, that this is the only food that they'll get today, you see, that's impressionable.
For hours they cooked, while those donkey carts kept rolling in with the kids who simply wanted to play and eat.
Only it wasn't 1,000 that showed up, it was 1,500, and that created a big problem.
When the plates ran out, they grabbed cups.
There's hungry kids and we're just trying to get out as much food out as possible.
As quickly as possible, because this sea of kids was waiting for their only nutritious meal of the day.
This puts a huge perspective on it.
And this is just one day in one feeding center. But on this day, there was another milestone.
Now, it's not every day that somebody celebrates a 20 millionth meal.
20 million meals in 5 years, from Iowa to the world. That 20 millionth one traveled to the African village that Urbandale doctor now calls home.
I had a great job, I made a lot of money, and I enjoyed my job.
Dr. Jim Blessman used to work for Mercy Medical Center.
I ran their pain center for 25 years.
Until 8 years ago, when he says God called him to Africa.
Father, we just come to you and we thank you. All of my physician peers thought I had gone crazy, and they were very much, they thought I was extremely weird.
After he came to Africa, he really, really wanted me to come, and I just did not want to come. I was really stubborn, and finally I said okay, just to get him off my back.
But within months, the couple used their Iowa connections to start an African transformation. Iowa manufacturers got on board. So did churches and medical schools, and, a key for the future, farmers.
Bringing rice from Iowa is a short-term answer. That is not the long-term answer.
For that, Check out what surrounds those kids eating Iowa's meals. A field of corn, planted back in November. Spring here in the Southern Hemisphere.
This year they see our yields and they say, how do you do that? We say, come back and we'll teach you.
We have just started it. It's still in its infancy, and it is touching the community a lot.
Johanni's an African agronomist determined to make his plot using Iowa techniques, the neighborhood model.
So they really like it, and many people are asking, how can we do it? Can we also do it? So many questions.
And Iowans are feeding them the answers about their gardens and more.
So they could raise a few chickens and again, feed themselves and even sell some.
But education takes time. For now, the immediate help stamped Des Moines fills semi-sized containers and entire warehouses.
That is real, you know, knowing that I know I was there on that day.
When Iowans filled these boxes.
And now it just brings it to fruition that we can see exactly what we did.
Saving the lives of adorable orphans whose parents died from AIDS.
90% of the food that they eat is from Iowa.
And teenagers who play barefoot soccer while their day's only meal cooks over an open flame.
No, they have not enough to eat because sometimes there's no money to buy some food.
Some might look at this land of safaris as just a tourist stop filled with Kodak moments. The Africans receiving this humanitarian effort from Iowa?
I think it's massive. I sometimes wonder if the people in Iowa realize what the difference this makes in Africa. Remember, when you look at South Africa through the TV, you look and you think, oh, you know what? South Africa is okay. We're not. There's many children that still go to bed without food. It is massive. It's not just something that, you know, you can take just by the way and it has happened. It is a huge impact that this has made in our country.
So if you have filled meals from the heartland, you have made a difference in this country.
Like bees in a hive, they buzz each September. Volunteers racing through tons of protein, filling thousands of bags, feeding millions of strangers. School kids adding rice, church groups making sure the vegetables are included, and masses of workers united in company colors to make sure it's just the right weight. Some bosses would argue you're witnessing a whole lot of lost productivity. But ask the folks who eat because of these hours, and they'll beg to differ.
It's a balanced diet, so it's helping a lot, yeah.
Oh, that meal is very nice and have protein, vitamins. I like it very much and children love it.
The same effort happens throughout the year in communities across Iowa. Last year, students from Simon Estes' music school down in Cape Town, who were touring America, even filled packages for their own families back here in South Africa. In all, 20,000 people gave away 6 million meals in Iowa last year alone. A massive effort that is feeding the masses, both here in South Africa and places like this around the world. But the feeding program is only a sliver of what is happening here. Still to come, how a medical school in Des Moines, a company in Pella, and churches and civic groups across Iowa are all impacting this continent.
The volunteering and community involvement, giving back, is just a reflection of our company values, which are a reflection of the family values. Building relationships and communities within any organization has benefits that aren't always tangible, aren't always showed up at the bottom line, but it creates a healthy environment. That's of greater value ultimately for us and what we try to live out here at Craig Tool. Embrace that spirit. It's good for you.
Here in South Africa, hunger is only one of the problems, and it's only one of the solutions that's coming from Iowa.
Crocodile.
Visit the heart of Africa's wilderness, and you expect to come face to neck with a giraffe.
The only mammal without vocal cord.
Or a wildebeest along the road. You don't expect remote tribal leaders to openly gush over your home state.
So what you are doing is a very great, good job.
I've never been to Iowa, but whenever I get there, I want to hug them and say thank you.
I love the Americans from Iowa, Des Moines. I love you so much.
Why the love from under a lonely tree in a third world village?
I think it took us about 30 minutes over washboard roads to get here.
It starts with the amateur optometrists.
Don't focus on the glasses. You want to focus on talking to them, building a little relationship with them. Keep your eyes open big.
Getting a crash course in vision from an Iowa MD.
Hello. I'm Dr. Blessman.
A retired pain specialist who still can't speak the local language, Sepedi.
I'm 67.
Despite living here most of a decade.
Tell her I think we can help her.
They're yours.
I have a problem with my eyes.
In this village where unemployment is 80% and food is scarce, a cheap $5 pair of glasses at a prescription close to correct
When they see a smile, I think, bingo, I think we found it.
can give these worn faces the gift of sight and a shot
Thanks, Lena. Thank you.
at a trade like sewing.
I think that some American loves us, and I think this is a very nice thing.
And while they're here,
They don't come until it's really, really bad.
the locals who live in this country with more people with AIDS than anywhere else on the planet can get tested and helped by wide-eyed medical students from Des Moines University.
The first patient we saw when we arrived was like a 40-year-old female that had HIV, tuberculosis, and hepatitis B. And I've never seen any of that.
Yeah, it's dramatic.
Was better last pair or better here?
Every month, aspiring doctors from Iowa rotate in, seeing patients in a program started by the university's former president, who's now our governor.
I think Governor Branstad came over here and Dr. Blessman and him kind of said, this is an experience for our students that they're not going to get anywhere else. And it's true.
They have to stand the night before just to be seen in the morning.
But lives threatened by disease are getting Iowa care, while others are getting Iowa ingenuity.
The earth here in Africa is very high percent clay.
Across the street from All Too Common Shanties is a machine getting a workout.
Well, the neat factor is it's from Pella, Iowa.
Somewhere in that dust, you'll see the name Vermeer, the Iowa equipment manufacturer that decided dirt could become brick.
So we need the earth, and then we need about 6% Portland cement, a little bit of moisture.
When locals play its levers like organ pedals, hydraulics compress the earth, spitting out 4 bricks every minute. Enough to build a family a sturdy shelter in days, because an Iowa company told its engineers, try.
It's kind of some of their way to give back to the community and to the world. I don't think they expect to make a huge profit on these machines.
Neither did Des Moines architect Doug Sharp, who donated his design for simple abodes constructed to house orphans and their teachers.
They're doing a wonderful job here in South Africa, especially here where I stay.
And Iowa's impact keeps growing. Just at Christmas time, hundreds of churches and civic groups from Osceola to Algona filled shoeboxes with toys and toiletries. It's a program called Operation Christmas Child. 100,000 of those shoeboxes are clearing customs right now in Johannesburg. Within weeks, they'll be handed out to kids like these. The same ones already playing soccer with balls that scream, "Come and go," a third of the way around the planet from the nearest Iowa-based convenience store.
Our reputation is widespread now, and that means we are making a difference.
And that's in addition to the 2 million South African children our state is feeding this year alone.
We don't want to become just a social agency and just simply feeding kids. So whenever we're involved with helping feed the children, we require that their hearts and minds are also enriched.
Personally, I'm so grateful. I just want to thank everyone in Iowa.
Seeing that we are actually affecting these lives, me as an Iowan, I'm one Iowa girl here helping these South African people. It's pretty amazing.
The children are growing, they're thinking better, they're healthier.
And we have people who are counting on us. You know, we're really in for the long haul.
We're better together.
We will not save every single child, but one child at a time, one day at a time, and we will make a difference.
So Iowans are making a massive difference, but wait until you meet these toddlers, kids who are surviving because of the help from Iowa.
I would encourage people to get involved. I mean, my own experience is once I attended my first event, I was hooked. I know of no greater high than going into that Hy-Vee hall at the annual event with 100 tables going, over 1,000 people. Not everybody can go on a mission trip. This is your way to make an impact worldwide or locally by having a fun experience in a packaging event. There's no question that we're making a huge impact.
Here in South Africa, the need is so massive it almost becomes faceless. But if you stop and look at the faces, especially of the kids, Not only can you see that need, but you can see the impact Iowans are having.
We are marching in the light of God. We are marching in the light of God.
If their tiny toes have the power to make yours tap, just wait until you see their smiles.
We are marching, we are marching in the light of God.
20 adorable toddlers who aren't old enough yet to understand the English they're singing.
Some of them are less than a year to 5 years.
But maybe it's better that they don't.
These children who are here, they are from this rural area.
Think of the shade under this tree as their 92-degree daycare.
Every day, from 6:30 in the morning up to 3:30 in the afternoon.
And their tiny red plastic chairs as their classroom. Now consider this is better than staying at home.
Unemployment in some of the townships and villages we work in may be 80%.
And those are the adults who haven't died from AIDS.
Some of them, they don't have parents. They stay with their grannies, and some of their grandmothers, 80 years to 90 years old.
Pastor John Chowkey has a thick accent, but you don't need to catch every word to understand his passion.
What is good for me is to see that these children, they are kept well here, and they are safe, and they grow well, and knowing the word of God, and to prepare them for their future.
For now, these toddlers understand when people with white skin from Iowa arrive every few weeks, the games begin. Jump ropes twirl, soccer balls launch, and television equipment doubles as Africa's most expensive toy.
You just like the light.
But the best part of their day is when the food those Iowans sent here is ready.
There you go, pal.
And for today, their belly is satisfied.
90% of the food that they eat is from Iowa.
That was one of the first needs that we saw when we came and started doing outreaches, was just the hunger of kids that had come to school with no breakfast and maybe no dinner the night before.
Without food from Iowa, from the United States of America, these children here, they're going to suffer. Because many of them, when they come here for the first time, they're not jumping and dancing like this. When they arrive here, they are weak. Some can't even walk. But after a few days here eating the rice from Iowa, then you see them, their faces are bright and they enjoy food. And when they go home, they refuse to eat what they are eating at their home.
Surround a village of adults with shacks, deadly disease, and 80% unemployment, and you start to understand the cycle that's killing thousands and depressing most others.
They have lost hope. So there's uncertainty. They don't know what is going to happen tomorrow, where the next meal will come from.
But these kids do. Sort of.
Do you know much about Iowa?
No, I know nothing. I just heard there is Iowa and Des Moines and so on. This is really touching me a lot for people coming all the way 18,000 kilometers to help the poor children here. For me, really, this is a godsend.
Enough meals to fuel dozens of growing toddlers for a year. And those 5 Iowa-designed abodes across the dirt lot that can each house 6 of these orphans. They're not mansions, just like the food isn't steak. But both are gifts to kids who will grow up fast enough, from Iowans who just want them to be kids.
It is my wish that one day I must go there to thank them face to face. If I can have a chance to be with them, I will thank them a lot, and I will tell them that may God richly bless them. The work that they are doing, they are going to get a big reward in heaven for what they are doing.
We are marching in the light of God.
But this country that also has quite a few problems also has a beautiful side. Experience the incredible wildness of South Africa next.
The need locally really continues to rise. We served 13,000 families last year, most of them more than once, most of them many times, so the need is just huge. If people want to help who aren't able to take an overseas trip, they can always help here. They can do a packaging with Meals from the Heartland, or they can always work at a pantry site and actually have that sort of face-to-face contact with low-income people who are receiving the benefits of this food.
Hundreds of Iowans come to Africa every year, and they come to help. But while they're here, they also experience the wild side of this continent.
Somewhere under Africa's vast miles of waist-high grass, there must be a magnet, because Americans filling their buckets,
Africa had always been on my list.
Can't help but be pulled here.
For my whole life, I've always been fascinated by African wildlife.
Jeff Iverson flew halfway around the world for a third-row perch in a Jeep filled with Iowans and a safari guide.
Yeah, they feed mainly on acacia leaves.
Who knows more about giraffes and zebras than any zookeeper.
The pattern of stripes like human fingerprint, and that's how a baby recognizes its mom.
$35 buys you 4 hours with your Canon and a ride with Louis across the savannah in hopes of spotting the rock stars.
They've got poor eyesight, very good hearing, and sense of smell. Rhinos.
In this 55,000-acre conservancy.
It seemed like it would go on forever.
About the same size as the city of Des Moines.
When it calls the tail, that shows that it's upset. She's not happy.
Here, wildebeest and zebra are as common as deer back home.
Well, when we saw the warthog, I was like, oh, Pumbaa from The Lion King.
But the real goal, the Big Five. Lions, Cape buffalo, black rhinos, leopards.
Yeah, the distance there.
And the one Louis spotted while camera-happy Iowans were giggling about a giraffe's blue tongue.
Yeah, exactly. You see, there's an elephant above the tree.
The only herd here.
You know, they were a long ways away. They were a solid half-mile away.
One can tip over a truck. 10 will send your Jeep speeding. Right into their path.
And all of a sudden, they're just right there.
Wow. Elephants are quite unpredictable and very dangerous. They're so big, they can get up to 6 tons.
What if they get angry? What if they start charging? What are we going to do? We're just sitting in this car.
So all in all, you have to have an escape route.
I'd read enough about them to know, you could tell by the way they were acting, that they were not at all happy to see us right in their way.
But cameras clicked from 30 yards until...
She becomes unhappy now because we blocked their route.
30 yards became 25, and Louis decided it was time to run. But...
Then we got stuck and we're like, oh my gosh, kind of your life flashed in front of you.
A sinkhole sent heart rate skyrocketing and wheels spinning.
And it's like, oh, okay.
With a combined 600 tons closing in, the front row suddenly seemed too close until the Jeep moved and the lumbering herd thundered by. The highlight, until the African sky turned orange, leaving only shadows and a sight right out of National Geographic in the headlights. One of the rarest scenes a guide will ever see. 2 cheetahs.
Yes, they've got strong jaws.
That had just chased down an impala at speeds that probably topped 60 miles an hour.
They feed and check around because they can be attacked by biggest predator like lions. Leopard and hyenas can take over their food.
Some will wince when watching the circle of life play out on TV. But seeing nature play out 50 feet in front of your eyeballs, that's what they fly halfway around the world to experience.
To actually see them, you know, watch while one would eat and the other one would watch, and they're looking for lions and leopards and everything. I mean, it was very neat.
But a safari ride is one thing. A walk?
There are very few places in the entire world where people can do this.
Amongst lions?
I'm nervous, but then it's just such a great experience. I'm so excited also.
That's a you've got to be kidding me experience that starts with a laundry list of warnings.
Don't run and don't bend. If you bend, you're making yourself smaller. You're getting on his eyesight level, so he's going to want to come and play with you. And they can play with force.
Nervous yet?
Or just a skosh.
You wouldn't be human if you didn't ask yourself, why in the world am I voluntarily entering a lion's lair?
Wow.
A resort called The Ranch is home to dozens of lions who've starred in hundreds of movies and, twice a day, freak out visitors looking for an only-in-Africa moment. How is this possible?
Trust. Trust and respect. You know, we walk with them from when they're tiny. We bottle feed them in the beginning so they get accustomed to that this human is not a threat. He's a friend. And then we walk with them and we introduce them slowly, different people, and slowly we carry on.
Let's walk it. Okay.
But as often as they assure tourists this is reasonably safe.
Oh, good golly, I'm just going to stand still.
These 2-year-olds are still the powerful kings we've been taught all our lives to fear. Then they say,
grab their tail? Whoa. I'm holding a lion's tail.
That's the moment you're certain that hand's going to become kitty food.
Okay, he's moving and I'll let him go.
For a full mile, we walk while that male and 4 females play and act just like you'd expect lions to act. Except they don't eat the American tourists who are trying to soak this up without peeing their pants.
And as long as we look after them, respect them, don't force them, they are not circus animals, we've got their trust and respect, and they allow us this great opportunity.
To watch 200 or 300 pound cats scale a tree in a second, and to hear them pounce after snagging a pound of beef.
At this point, we're about a half hour in, and it's still a little nerve-wracking to be this close to them, but at least we feel a little bit more comfortable.
At first, I was quite apprehensive. I find out they're gentle giants.
But still,
your senses need to be keen so you don't accidentally get in one of their ways and have them attack or anything.
A 60-minute walk did include a few paw swipes.
And I'm just going to stay put. Hello. Okay, hi. That was a little nerve-wracking, but...
Swipes our guides assured us were just an attempt to play. We declined their invitation, choosing to just hang out for 60 minutes.
This is incredible. to pet a male lion that is completely not only awake, but breathing and panting.
This has been an incredible experience. Never, if I could have painted something wild, would I have said, I'm going to be walking with the lions and enjoying it.
A life experience on a humanitarian expedition in a foreign land.
Iowa and South Africa are so different in so many ways, but Iowans are making a difference here, a difference they say that is just the beginning. With photojournalist Jesse Landolt, I'm Eric Hansen in South Africa.
We're better together. And when a lot of people gather together, they do things that one individual or 2 or 3 individuals could never do.
You have made sure you've given your finances, you've given your time to get that packet done. So you are 100% with me feeding that child to the end of the day.
For more pictures, video, and information on how to get involved in any of the projects you've seen, go to kcci.com and click on As Seen on KCCI.
KCCI News Channel 8 has been proud to present From Iowa to Africa, The Special, brought to you by Craig Tool Company.